Buddy, on the shootings we've had the past 2 days here in the city, starting on July 9th. Let me start off by saying we have 6 shootings that occurred over the past 2 days. Out of these shootings, they're all related. We determined that late this morning as we worked through the night. We've been working since the first shootings occurred, like I said, but we've determined that all these shootings are related, and it's basically a disturbance between two rival groups that are fighting, believe it or not, over rap music and drugs. So we have identified most of the players. I'm going to walk you through a timeline here so you can get a better idea what's going on. We had a shooting on July 8th at 1118 Berkshire, where a house was shot in a drive-by, and the subject was shot actually in the foot, and he refuses to cooperate. He doesn't want any police involvement. In fact, he blames us for the shooting. Why, I have no idea. We had nothing to do with it, but he refused to cooperate. Then as you get into the situation yesterday, around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, we had a shooting that resulted, unfortunately, in a homicide over at Weaver and Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune. The victims in that vehicle were being chased by the suspects. The suspects chased them to the point where the victims had crashed their car into an innocent bystander at Weaver and Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune. Our 2 victims fled from the vehicle southbound on Weaver Street as 3 suspects exited the vehicle wearing ski masks and opened fire on our victims. One of the victims was able to get to cover and survive. The second victim, whose name is Damon Carnes, he's a 19-year-old male. He was, who just turned 19, was unfortunately shot and killed during that incident. Within minutes later after that, a call came out about a shooting at the Taco Bell. Well, in fact, it wasn't the Taco Bell. It happened at Madison and Gibson. In this shooting, a female that's not related to this incident was shot in the calf as a car pulled up and somebody got out with a long gun, a rifle, and fired rounds at her. Thank God she's going to live, but this is definitely connected to this. If the suspect vehicle in the shooting from the chase matches almost identical to the shooting of the innocent victim in this case, with the exception one had a sunroof, the other didn't. The disturbing part about this is the victim was like, "Please don't shoot me, don't shoot me. I'm not involved in anything. I'm a female," and he fired anyway. So that's really upsetting and disturbing. As we go on to, we had another shooting again at 1114 Berkshire where shots were fired and we did get cooperation. This is all yesterday. Let's see where I'm at with the situation. Okay. Then as we're going through our cases and working that, at 1324 Moore Street last night, probably around, I want to say it must have been around 6 o'clock, give or take, I don't know the exact time. We had a drive-by shooting at the house at 1324 Moore Street. This house again was and I'm going to get into why we know that, because the people that drove by and shot at the house, we got a description of their vehicle, which we located the vehicle and we began in a pursuit on that vehicle with partnerships with the Volusia County Sheriff's Office and the Flagler County Sheriff's Office. ATF was helping us out, as well as the State Attorney's Office. So we pursued this vehicle up into almost to the Flagler County line, where during this time, the suspects bailed from the car they were in and jumped into another awaiting vehicle. As they left that vehicle, they left the gun that was used in this drive-by shooting in the first vehicle. They got into I believe it was a gray Audi, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was an Audi, and they fled from police, continued to flee from police for about a good 30 minutes, ended up coming back down into Daytona Beach. Their tires had been hit with stop sticks, and they crashed over at the corner of Fremont and Ridgewood Avenue and bailed, and all 4 were apprehended. 3 of the suspects were taken into custody by us, and the 1 female who was in the vehicle that we believe was the waiting driver up there at the Flagler County Volusia line was taken in by the Volusia County Sheriff's Office. As we brought them back and got to our investigation, we had a confession from one of the suspects that admitted that they drove by the house on Moore Street and fired the shots. They got the wrong house. So we'll be able to clear that out. We recovered the gun. We also determined, and those people that were arrested, I'm going to give you their names right now. It was Deontay Thompson, 23 years old, Demaculus Few, 27 years old, and Raheem Smith, 22 years old. All these are criminals that have been involved in street-level stuff here for years, and we keep on arresting them and keep getting out. And hopefully we can maybe make some strong cases here on them now. I can tell you, we determined based on our investigation, due to the great job by my detectives and some eyewitness testimony from the initial homicide scene at Weaver and MMB, we have a person of interest, Mr. Kevin Stokes, and I'll put his picture up here. Mr. Stokes is no stranger to gun violence. He's only 17 years old, but he is known to carry guns and shoot. He's your typical street thug that does not care anything about human life. And I can tell you right now, we are actively looking for him right now. He's a person of interest. Hopefully we'll get some warrants for him very shortly for the murder of our victim, Mr. Damon Carnes. I can tell you, $5,000 out right now for anybody who can tell us where he's at. No questions asked, we get him in custody. $5,000. So please get out there and help us get some closure for this family and get this violent street felon off the streets before he kills somebody again. He's bad news and he's dangerous. Okay, and we'll be having some packets for you there too. So as we've been working through yesterday and today, when we first noticed these shootings back on Monday, every summer we do an operation called Operation Summer Heat. And we have basically it's a street violence task force that looks specifically for firearm offenses and street violent crime. And what we do is every summer we initiate this plan, this plan in place. I got to tell you, we haven't had any really major gun problem issues for like the last 4, 5, 6 months. It's been really quiet. So we kind of hesitated on implementing our plans. As police, we have to look at crime every day, usually sometimes every hour, sometimes every minute, to determine where these incidents are happening so we can put our resources on there. So we implemented our summer heat operation, and we were out since noon yesterday, before these shootings. We since then made some more adjustments, and we've had officers out throughout the night, and we're going to continue this for the next couple weeks. The streets right now are a ghost town. Last night on social media, we were picking up social media where they were saying the police are out, don't go out, the criminals were saying this. There's all criminal elements. So the city, no time, we stress this, there was never a point where the city was out of control or wasn't safe. This is a very safe city. We had about a 4-hour period where we had a couple incidents that were related, that we since, within less than 24 hours, arrested several people. We've got a suspect, a person of interest identified, which we'll have warrants for hopefully shortly, hopefully by today, and we're going to clear this case up. In the meantime, as we go on, because I know some people are saying that the city was, out of control. Hey, it's unfortunate these things happen, but it's how you react to them. We've put, our homicide numbers are down. We had last year this time we had 5 homicides. Unfortunately, 1 homicide's too many. We have 3 now. So the year before that we had 6 at this time. So the homicide numbers are dropping, and the gun violence numbers are dropping, as well as the overall crime is dropping in the city. And it's not by luck. It's by doing great police work, utilizing technology, following up on things, and just staying active and staying dialed in. I can tell you, since we started an operation yesterday on the streets, we wrote 66 tickets so far. We've made 9 felony arrests, 9 misdemeanor arrests. We seized a bunch of marijuana, cocaine, and heroin, which we all know what heroin's doing out here on the streets. We recovered 4 guns. 2 of those guns are possibly going to be linked to our cases here. So everything's starting to come together less than 24 hours after these unfortunate chain of events occurred. So I think that's pretty good. When you can't maybe prevent these things at times, you try your best, but how do you react to it, and how do you try to get closure, and how do you try to stop it? And I think we've done a good job of moving in the right direction. Everything's coming together. That's pretty much where we're at right now. We're going to continue with our summer heat efforts. I just got updates, and then on the radio you can hear them saying it's tumbleweeds out here. It's ghost town. Because everybody knows, the criminal element knows that they're not going to get away with it. And we're not going to tolerate this here in Daytona Beach. We refuse to tolerate that. We have 0 tolerance for gun violence, any kind of gun crimes. And if you do that in the city, we're going to come after you. Simple as that. We want our citizens, our visitors, and everybody to be safe here and have a great time. We just had some major events in the cities with no incidents. We've had the last 6 months with no major incidents. You're going to have, unfortunately, these spikes, and it was a 4-hour period. When you break it down, is where we had these problems, and we were already out there trying to prevent it, which helped us respond to these scenes and clear up so far. So we're going to continue our efforts, and I believe in the bottom of my heart this is truly a safe city. I have no problem, with anything that goes on here. I think it's very safe. So I'm going to turn it over to the mayor to get a few comments. Mayor?
I just want to reiterate support for our police department and the great work that they have done in this situation. It is an anomaly, is the way that I would describe it. However, anomalies do cause residents and visitors alike to be alarmed. I feel very confident in the job that they're doing. But I also want to send a message to our overall community and ask that we always, and particularly in this situation, work with law enforcement. Our safety depends on all of us being involved and working with law enforcement, enabling them to do their job and letting the bad guys or girls know that we are together. We stand with the police, and we're going to work to make sure that crime doesn't pay in Daytona Beach. So I want to again thank our chief and his staff for just jumping on this, and the one thing that happens in investigations, they unfold. And so the truth, while it unfolds and the more information they find out, I hope you guys can appreciate the fact that our department does what they're supposed to do as it relates to getting out as much information as quickly as possible. We don't have anything to hide. Our objective is to be as transparent as possible without jeopardizing the work that has to be done. But we do want folks to know what's going on, and I appreciate the good job that you've done and your staff. Thank you.
And we're lucky to have the support of a great commission, a mayor, city manager that lets us do what we need to do, that give us the tools we need to do our job, the equipment we need to do our job. And one thing we have here in Daytona Beach, we have a great connection with our community. And I think, Ms. Bland, are you here?
Yes, I am.
Norma, come on up for a second, please. Okay. Norma Bland's one of our community activists. We work very well with our neighborhood watch groups. We had so many tips coming in from people to help us solve this. So it wasn't, like the mayor said, we can't do it all by ourselves. We need that community piece to help us out. And that's why we're all on the same team here. We want a safe, crime-free community for our residents and our visitors. And I promise you, we're going to work every day harder and harder to accomplish that. And we're moving in the right direction. Norma, you say a few words?
Our criminal justice system, it seems as though it's failing us. But I want to say this to our state attorney. Stop putting these young people through revolving doors and do what you have to do to get them off our streets and make this city a very safe place to live. You have young people who've gone through the criminal justice system 4 and 5 times, and they keep patting them on the hand and putting them back on the streets. And this is what happens. So we need to do something with the product that we're putting back, which is our youth, and find a way to control them. And parents, you need to step up, step in, and be responsible for your children. Thanks to the Daytona Beach Police Department and you too, Captain Capri.
Okay. She keeps the boat in me. I'm the chief. That's okay. You can do that. I've known her a long time.
Thank you. I'm sorry.
It's all right. I'll open up some questions now.
Chief, you were saying these shootings were mostly related between two rival,
all
related
yeah.
between two rival groups over drugs and rap music. Can you
Yes.
explain how drugs and rap music kind of set these events in motion?
I can't say too much more because it's still active, but this young generation, I guess they like music and you know how the drug situation is here. It's gotten a lot better, but we got a long way to go. It's not just the Daytona Beach problem. It's a national epidemic. And if you look at on the scale, we're way ahead of the game than a lot of other cities, and I'm just very thankful for that. We invest a lot of time, money, and efforts into narcotics interdiction here. We have several officers on task forces. We have dedicated officers to fight drugs, street crime, and our open air markets are pretty much non-existent anymore. So I can't say too much more how this comes together. I could tell you that everything in the last 2 days has been related, and almost every one of them have been identified. Several have been arrested, and more arrests are coming on this. And we're going to be out in force with our teams out here for Operation Summer Heat for the rest of the summer, and we're going to get back to normal here. I think we are already.
And as you said, you know, a lot of these are retaliation shootings.
Yes.
It's quiet now. Are you worried there's going to be some retaliation later down the road here?
You know, I don't think so. As we lock people, one thing I found out, once people start getting locked up, they start talking, and they talk on each other, and they point the finger at each other, and it kind of washes itself out. There's none of this, you know, I'm not going to talk, I'm a tough. It all changes once they get the handcuffs on. I can tell you right now. So I think we have identified it, you know, with our intelligence, everybody involved, plus other associates and connections, and we're out there hammering the streets right now, relentlessly. So I think the word is, you know what, they're done.
Can you say anything more about who these two groups are, or what you know about
I can't really say too more. It's an active investigation. It's nothing organized like you think, like some kind of.
These aren't gangs?
No, it's not logo gang. It's not like no Bloods or nothing like that. It's a typical bunch of Daytona kids that don't know what the hell they're doing, that are misguided, young adults that are living in some kind of fantasy world. And it's all fun and games until you start pulling guns out and shooting people, and now we're involved, and game's over. I can tell you that, it's over.
What kind of weapons were used and recovered in these?
We had we recovered a couple .40 caliber weapons. I don't know about the rifles. Did we get any rifles? I know we recovered, how many? No, all pistols, 40 caliber. I know some of the rounds at the scene, especially the one at Madison and Gibson was .223 round, and then we had at the scene on Weaver and MMB, it was a 7.62 round and 40 caliber shell cases.
Any of them reported stolen at all?
As far as I know, no. And that was about 2 hours ago. So we're out there hitting the streets pretty hard. I'm sure we'll get some more guns. We just did a gun buyback 2 weeks ago, and we took 34 guns off the street. We got another one planned for October. The national one, I believe, is in October. We do 3 a year instead of 1. We try to get all these guns off the streets. because people maybe don't want to have a gun. It's no use having that gun lying around. Let us give you a $50 gift card for that. That's one less gun on the street that can be used against somebody. So we're very proactive on that front. We do 3 a year instead of 1.
You said there was rap groups. Have you guys identified the rap groups?
Well, I don't think it's so much a rap group. I don't know if it's an official rap group, but it's over in rap music and drugs. But I can't say any more reasons because we're still putting this together. Once it's all said and done, we'll do another press conference and we'll release everything. We'll give you copies of everything. I'm being very transparent, but I can only tell you so much. I don't want to jeopardize the case.
The picture you just
Yes.
showed now about this kid at 17 years old,
Yes.
he's related with this case,
Yes.
the shooting.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Yes, he is our person of interest in the shooting, and we're gonna hopefully have warrants for him very soon.
In relation to the fatal shooting?
Yes, absolutely. So my detectives in less than what, we had this information pretty much late last night, so the incident happened around 4 o'clock. Within 8 hours, you know, they're already getting ready to make an arrest on this. Get charges so they can make an arrest on this suspect. And social media, what they're putting out there and everything, everybody's communicating. And I'm giving $5,000 out to anybody who can tell me where he is just for an arrest. $5,000, cash.
Anyone?
Upsell.
I'm sorry. Anyone other than him still at large?
No, nothing. No, we've got most of them identified. We're still working on some things here. Everybody right now that's involved in this, trust me, is running. The few that are out, I think there's 2 more people we're looking that might be connected. Everybody's laying low.
In total, how many people do you guys have arrested now?
Well, everybody we come in contact for has been arrested. We arrested 3 ourselves. The county took 1, that was 4, and hopefully we get him in custody, 5, and then we got to identify the other 2, which we're working on right now that were in the car. So we got a bunch of cars. We're doing search warrants on vehicles that we recovered. We're recovering 1 firearm out of the car. A lot goes into this as far as the process. We've been working all day since yesterday at 4 o'clock. We haven't stopped. So we don't stop on these things. We don't go home and say, okay, it's over. These guys and girls, these detectives are working relentlessly, along with our other teams out here, just trying to set the tone for the summer. And it's been, like I said, this is an anomaly. We've had a great year so far. Crime is down. The summer kicked off. I was waiting for, our juvenile crime is real low. So I attested to a lot of the programs we've done through the year, investing with our SROs in the schools and running after school programs. We're running a camp here next week, a STEM camp for kids. The police department is sponsoring with the city. Plus we got kids in Embry-Riddle camps. We got kids in all these different camps. You got to keep kids active and keep them from hanging out and getting in trouble. We were all kids here once. You know, when you got nothing to do with time on your hands, we all did stupid things. I don't think it rose to the level of guns or anything like this, but I'm sure you were a kid once, and when if you didn't have something to do, you were going to find something to do, and unfortunately sometimes those things go into doing the wrong thing. So.
Chief, are you considering manning the substation on Mary McCall Bethune? I know that one.
We don't have that one there anymore. We moved.
No.
No, Bethune-Cookman took the property back there. Okay. It really wasn't affected. Their security team's working out of there. We have our precinct at 995 Orange Avenue,
right,
which is open from about noon to midnight every day. Okay. And hopefully by the fiscal year in October, we'll be able to staff that hopefully 24/7 as we get some more people. But that's been a godsend there too, because it's helped us out tremendously with a lot of the citizens being able to don't have transportation to walk up and do reports and get them taken care of and meet the officers. So, and that's open to the public.
Chief, the 4 suspects you arrested yesterday for the Moore
Yes.
shooting, do you think they were connected to any of the other shootings? Which other shootings do you think?
Well, I think they're connected to this whole thing. I don't know exactly how they fit in, but I think they're definitely all related to this. There's some kind of spin-off from the homicide.
But you don't know specifically if they're
well, I know a little bit more, but I can't tell you.
Okay.
So,
And you say the homicide victim was involved in this scrape between the 2 groups of people, correct?
yes.
Okay. Does he have an arrest record?
That I don't know.
And
He's a victim right now. I'm more concerned about his family and about them. I'm not worried about what he did in the past. He's a young man. Regardless of the criminal, he didn't have no right to die. No one deserves to be killed, and let alone be shot in the back.
Right.
As you're fleeing for your own safety. It doesn't matter. That doesn't even matter.
And did you say another woman was shot? And I'm
Yes.
sorry, because
Yes.
I haven't covered this.
Well,
story.
I mean, I understand. Claire's not here.
She was
Innocent
not
bystander.
involved. She was innocent.
Innocent bystander. Her vehicle matched the description almost to the T of the suspect vehicle, and we think some family members or I don't know. I shouldn't even say family. I don't know. Somebody retaliated on that vehicle.
Thank you.
So I'm sorry.
On social media, have the police department been able to get any
Yes, we got some information. We got some information, definitely.
investigation?
Yeah. One thing I got to say here, we have a great relationship with our community. I've had people calling me, helping me out with this already. We have that you would never think would be calling help, and they've called to help. people don't want gun violence in their neighborhoods regardless. They want to help us out. People don't want to live with people shooting around their neighborhoods. Nobody does. I don't care who you are. Nobody deserves to live like that. We're going to fight every day so people won't have to deal with that. Trust me. Absolutely not, Tony.
So, yeah, you were saying about the lady who was shot. She was driving a car that matched the description of the suspect vehicle, and that's why they opened fire on her, presumably.
So, yes, we believe so.
There was a crash this morning also at the corner of Vine and 6th. Somebody fled
Yes.
from the scene. Is that related to this?
Well, that's probably not related to this so much as our initiative. When we're out here, we've been out since 8 o'clock this morning. Another team came in at 8, and they were out working the streets, and I believe they got to where they tried to stop a vehicle and it fled, and they were able to make an arrest. So it's just part of doing business, and we're just, we're looking for violations. We're not targeting people. We're just out there on the streets looking for things.
And that suspect was arrested?
I don't know if he was arrested.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Actually, Miss Norma told me about it. I didn't even know. We're all over the city right now. So there's several incidents that have happened. We had 18 people arrested, so it's probably one of those.
Chief, I know yesterday there was that white BMW they thought was related to that shooting initially. Was that just a case of mistaken identity with that car? What happened?
We want to make sure it was a BMW and it was fleeing when it's all police, and we want to make sure we didn't know if it was white or gray or exactly. So we decided to pursue it just based on what we had in the homicide, and that was just unrelated. But he had ammunition in the car and drugs. So and he fled, and we were able to get him. The one last night happened to be related to the Dodge that went up there, the Challenger, Charger, whatever it was, and switched into the Audi, I believe, or whatever it was. So it's coming together. It's coming together. I think once we get this suspect into custody, and then we can start clearing everything out. So then we'll be able to release more at that time. But I'm just proud of our police department. I'm proud of our citizens that come forward. I'm proud of everybody who works pretty good here, really good here actually, and everybody wants to solve this. Everyone wants to be closure for the family, and just nobody deserved what happened yesterday. Nobody. From our victim on Weaver to our victim that was just driving down Madison Avenue, which really upsets me. All this stuff. I mean, it never gets that bad where you have to use gun violence. I don't know. I just don't. I'm going to do whatever it takes, whatever it costs, whatever we got to do to stop it, and stop it quick. And that's why we're out. So everybody's out working. You'll see us out here all night. Been here all day. So.
The sheriff's office helicopter orbiting just west of here. Does that have anything to do with this?
Yeah, they're helping us out. We work very well with the sheriff, Sheriff Chitwood and his group. They've been helping us out. Flagler County Sheriff's Office working with us, State Attorney's Office, the ATF. ATF, Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, they're involved. So we'll take some of these cases federally. So we're out, everybody. Just because it's Daytona Beach doesn't mean it stays in Daytona Beach. It goes to other cities. And I can tell you lately, it's been in other cities because we've been doing our job really well. So they're going to come back to Daytona. We're going to deal with it, but everybody else needs to be aware. We all communicate. Every officer in Volusia County can communicate with each other. There's over 1,200 officers in Volusia County. Every one of them have the capability through the NC4 Street Smart application solution, crime fighting solution, to communicate with each other. That the sheriff invested a lot of money in, Sheriff Chitwood did, so we can have that. So you can't put a price on it. It wasn't cheap. You can't put a price on the safety of your citizens, and that's what we're doing here. We're embracing technology and tying it in as a tool in the toolbox to fight crime, and it's all coming together.
And Chief, I think one of the earlier reports was that a black Nissan was involved in one of the shootings, and the same Nissan sedan was parked outside a house that had bullet holes in it, and he was found asleep in the car. Do you know anything about that?
I believe so. I don't know all the details on it, but I know we've made. Somebody did tell me something about a black Nissan that was involved in it.
And was that involved in this as well?
I believe so, yes.
Okay.
Yes. I can tell you that we've been making a lot of arrests here in the last not even 24 hours. And you guys have been out in the streets. Have you seen anything today? I know you guys are riding around. Been quiet?
Yep.
Radio's been quiet. I mean, I know the patrol guys are happy because they're not running call to call because we're stopping a lot of stuff. So we're going to go out there and keep hitting hard. But please, out there, just keep preparing for this family. They lost one of their loved ones yesterday, and you can imagine losing your son or somebody you love, how horrific that must be, regardless of what happened. Nobody deserves that. So we're going to work with the family and anything they need with our victim advocate and try to get them whatever we can to help them out. So anything else? Thank you very much. Have a great